Welcome to the Nashville podcast. How y'all doing? Today is part 2.
There was a moment where I was talking to a guy in Nashville, and I was thinking about making the move with my wife. We didn't have lyric at the time. And I was like, we're just going to move to Nashville. I'm going for it.
Yeah.
Already had the songs for my EP written and ready to go. And it was going to be a Christian album. I wasn't going to stray away from, what I believe. I believe in singing songs that have eternal value.
Yeah.
I love country music. I love pop. I don't listen to rap as much anymore. It's changed so much, but like you give me some old school rap.
Yeah.
I'll listen to it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Me too.
Rock and roll. I love music.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to use the talent that God gave me, other than singing songs that have eternal value.
Yeah. For him.
For the most part.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or I'll sing a love song and, in my head, I'm singing it to my wife, regardless or anything like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was going to make the move to Nashville. I had everything lined up, sessions already, scheduled. Everything was paid for, good to go. And then that's when my father found out that he had lung cancer. Wrecked my whole world, changed everything. This is a guy that helped mold me to who I am, today, as a father, as a husband, and as a musician. I wouldn't be where I am today without him.
Yeah.
So whenever he had cancer, I was talking to my guy and I was like, I can't do this right now. We're going to have to put this off. And what's kind of crazy about it is the last 2 weeks prior to that, I had been leading worship at two different churches. One was on a Sunday morning and the other one was on a Wednesday night. And it felt good. You know what I mean? Like It was just me and the guitar, and like it felt right. And I can't. It was almost as if God was like,
yeah,
it's not in Nashville, bro.
Yeah.
It's here.
Yeah.
Doing what I've given you the ability to do in a church.
Yeah.
That's kind of what it felt like. And then Drew Stockton was working at the Grove at the time, who was also the pastor, the youth pastor at East Sonali, where I met my wife. And he gave me another opportunity to lead worship there for their youth on Wednesday nights. He called me. I hadn't talked to him in maybe 2.5 years. And he said, "Hey, do you still lead worship?" It's like, "I do." He said, "Would you like to lead worship for our youth for a week at like Ocoee or Utah-Nochi, something like that? It's in Cleveland." I get those. I get those mixed up. It's one camp. I was there for a week, and I was like, "Yeah, absolutely." And so I was like, "Let's go check out the Grove before we go on this little trip, just kind of get a feel for what's happening."
Yeah.
Fell in love with it. Can still remember what Philip preached on. He was like, "What's your story?" I remember the first person that came up and shook my hand, and the second person, Mike Neal and Paul Franco, were the first two people that come up and shake my hand and welcome me to them. Love those guys with all of my heart.
Wow.
They're actually in the worship band for a long time. Incredibly faithful. Love those dudes. And I remember on the way home after the service, where my wife and I, we were driving back to Athens because we lived in Athens at the time. I don't think we said 2 words. It was like an hour back home. We might have said 2 words to each other. And we knew that this is where God wanted us to be at. So I said all that, to kind of say this, like, there's things that happen in your life that you don't understand. Maybe you have plans for something and it doesn't work out.
Yeah.
And you're bummed. You're like, this is stupid.
Yeah.
it's for the best.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And, almost 10 years later, still there, full-time job, working at the church, doing exactly what I love. There was a time where I appreciate you. Thank you. There was a time where I wanted to be the next big thing in Nashville. But that time is gone. I'm not interested in anything, but just getting, his word out, singing stuff that moves people to want to be closer to God, and just stuff that has value. You know what I mean?
So I don't want to rush through what you just said, but I want to go back to the initial beginning of that whenever you're talking about your dad. Because I could see it in your eyes, I could see it in your emotions and your face, man, that, you said that he molded you into the husband you are today, molded you into the dad you are today. So I kind of want to touch on those a little bit. It is the dad show, it's the meaning of that. But how did he mold you into those? Like, give me a couple of examples of how he was a really good father to you, maybe how he was a really good husband to your mom. Like, how was those examples set for you?
So there's a couple different ways that he did all of that. One, he never missed any athletic event that I had. If he did, there was a extremely good reason for it.
Yeah.
Not just like, I'm tired, I don't want to go.
Yeah.
Or I'm going to go play golf or something like that.
Yeah.
He worked a lot, worked very hard. He never, when I say this, he said no, but like he never said no on the things that really mattered, that he needed to really say no on. There was many times where he could have said, come home from work, mow the yard. Then he would just sit on the recliner and I'd be like, hey, can we go throw baseball? Yeah. There's so many times he could have said no.
Yeah.
And he never would. And I would literally pitch a whole game to him.
Yeah.
Until he just couldn't do it anymore. He never told me no on the things that he knew were important to me.
Yeah. Being present. With
correct.
You,
He's
time with
very
you.
much present.
Yeah.
He treated my mother with respect. The only thing that he did not do that I have changed and I do with my wife is wherever she goes, I go.
Yeah.
My dad hated shopping with a passion.
Yeah.
So a lot of times my mom would either go by herself or she would find somebody else to go with.
Yeah. Take a friend or something like that.
That's the only thing.
Yeah.
Everything else, he was spot on. Spot on. He made us go to church. He was a man of faith and he lived, what he preached.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
He served in the church. He played the piano for the church everywhere he went. I've been a member of 3 churches. My dad's, he might have been a member more than that, but from when I was alive, it was 3 churches that we all went to. Hilltop, then Calvary, and then, which was also in Riceville, and then the Grove. And he played the piano for the choir and for any kind of special that people wanted.
Yeah.
Back in the day, those 2 churches, we had specials. So anybody that wanted to sing, they could get up and sing. Just the example, the life that he lived, the walk that he had with God was incredible.
Wow.
It was incredible.
Sounds like a great guy, man.
He was a fantastic human being.
Yeah.
Fantastic human being.
It's so funny. Every podcast that I've done, that same concept of being present comes up.
It's huge.
And
it's huge.
I made a post on social media the other day about, what makes you a good dad?
Yeah.
Like, what do you do that makes you a good dad? And I would dare to say that probably 75% of the comments out of, I don't know how many hundreds, was just being there and showing up and being present.
Yeah.
My return to that is our presence is our kids' present.
Mm-hmm.
That's what they want. They don't.
Absolutely.
I spend so much time running around working my tail off, trying to make extra money to provide my kids this and do this and all that, when all that is taking away from what they really want.
Absolutely.
They don't care about the money. They don't care about the presents. Mm-mm. They don't care about material things or, what they just want to be with their mom and they want to be with their dad. And dude, I think that is so awesome that you go with your wife, basically everywhere.
Sometimes it's awful. Like Hobby Lobby, it's the worst store ever.
I agree, and I do. And my wife, I don't know how yours is, but man, if we're going to Knoxville, because we live here in Roane County, like we're not just going to Hobby Lobby and coming back home. Like while we're in Knoxville, we're going to knock out this, and this, and this, and this.
Marshalls is a frequent stop. My wife loves some Marshalls. You got Target, Old Navy, all that good stuff. Chick-fil-A.
But being there, or Longhorn, like we sing out Longhorn.
Oh gosh, yeah, Longhorn. We will kill some Longhorn. So good. But spicy chicken bites.
They were good. That was the first time I'd got them. They were really good.
Fantastic.
So shout out to Longhorn.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
But no, that time with your wife, man. I mean, it's just like your kids, dude. Or your kid, but my kids, like. It don't matter what we're doing as long as we're together. And, us dads, I say this a lot too, like us dads want to fix things. Our wife brings us stuff or our kids bring us stuff. Like we're just wanting to get to the bottom of it. Like, how can I fix this? How can I correct this? How can I make this better for you? And sometimes you don't need to do that. Sometimes you just need to listen. Sometimes you just need to be present.
Yeah.
And it comes up every single podcast. Like put your phone down, get home from work. And like your dad did for you, no matter how tired he is, no matter how bad of a day, spend the time because it's going to be gone.
Absolutely. One of the last things that he said to me before he passed away was it was crazy to me that this was what he felt. He's like, I wish I would have been a better father. That's what he said.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that every father probably feels that way at some point.
Yeah.
But I don't know how he could have been. I never knew that we were broke.
Yeah.
Never knew it. There was nothing that he, in my mind, could have done better to raise me, to teach me how to be, a man.
Yeah.
And how to love my wife, my kid. So I think about him telling me that often, especially like in the younger years of Lyric's life. He's 4, he'll be 5, starting school, which is stupid.
It's insane.
Like this is the best time.
Yeah.
Where he's with me all the time. You know what I mean? Like I'm not gonna get this back.
Exactly. Yeah.
So like I want to try to make every moment, with him, every moment with my wife, memorable, matter.
Yeah.
I want it to leave an impact for him. I want him to have the same opinion of me as that I had of my father. What I mean? So it's just a mindset of just making sure that one day, like your time's up, and I don't want to look back and be like, man,
wish I'd spent more time.
Wasted it.
Yeah,
I wasted it.
And that's huge. My issue is the phone. Like we talked about, scrolling through reels or handling questions or emails about the podcast, about the foundation. And so that's one thing that I've really tried to start doing. And I still fail at it constantly whenever I come home, like put the phone in another room, turn it on silent. And, I'm going to spend time with them and be present with them because the same exact thing. I don't want my kids saying, my dad didn't spend time with me. My dad was on his phone all the time. Like my dad was at work all the time. He was providing.
Yeah.
Like I know now, and he's still living today. But he was at work. He was providing.
Yeah. My
grandfather, who was retired, was 110% a kingdom man. Like had grace for days. That's who my rock was. That's who I went to, and that's who I spent my time with. And so unfortunately, my dad was out trying to provide for our family, which is, very credible. But at the same time, don't let your, what you're doing take away from what you really want to spend time with. So
absolutely,
that's huge. So you take a lot of time and spend with Lyric today because of your dad's upbringing of how you were brought up and spend that time together. So what's Lyric like to do, man? What's some things he loves to do?
Gosh. What does he not like to do? Right now, he's into whoopee cushions. So for a good 20, 25 minutes last night, I had to, and it's not like a small one, it's a massive one.
I've never seen one that's not bigger than.
Oh my gosh, it takes forever to blow it up. It's awful. I get lightheaded so quick because I'm almost 40. So I'll blow it up and I'll put it on the couch. And for some reason, he likes to get right behind me, trip me, and then I have to fall on the whoopee cushion. And he'll do that. He'll do it as long as I let him. As long as I let him. He likes to FaceTime people. He will FaceTime anybody. Wow. At any moment. And he knows how to, which is terrifying.
They need to what?
It's he knows how to just FaceTime anybody randomly. He knows to call somebody and then he knows what button to press. It's terrifying. He's 4 years old and shouldn't know how to do that.
I might have to get him with Kennedy and Lincoln because they love to do that too.
Oh my goodness. He'll do it. And he just likes to put stuff like on his face where it changes him blanket downs for a koala. Let's see what he likes outside. All the time. If he could live outside, he would. Yeah. He finally starts eating chicken nuggets from McDonald's. It's the only meat he eats. We were worried that he was going to be vegan. But he loves everything that, a little boy loves. Yeah. He loves his mama way more than me.
I've got that 100%.
But there's times where he's a daddy's boy, and I love it. But above his mom and his daddy's a Gigi's boy, and that's my sister.
Okay.
Because she never tells him no. Ever. Whatever he wants, he gets at Gigi and Mimi's house. And he's over at their house Monday through Thursdays.
Okay.
So he's there.
Spoiled all week.
He's with them more so than he is with me and my wife.
Wow. So you're going to have it rough.
Oh my gosh. So I just keep telling myself, it's like, we waited 7 years for him. So we're just going to let him do his thing.
Yeah. Do you think you'll have more kids?
So I don't know if you actually know the whole story with, how we got Lyric. We had to do IVF.
Okay.
When we got married, we wanted to start having kids immediately because my parents were on the older side.
Yeah.
They were 40 when they had me.
Okay.
My dad was 43.
Wow.
So when we got married, it was like, I want my son, daughter to experience my father.
Yeah.
And my mother.
Yeah.
And we kept trying. We kept going to doctors and stuff like that. Nothing was successful. So then we turned to IVF, and the plan was always have two, a boy and a girl.
Yeah.
Boy first, girl second. Boy can protect the girl.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That was the plan. And with IVF, you get 3 chances. You pay for each one, but the price continues, to go down for the meds and stuff like that. That may have changed now. I have no idea. So don't quote me on that.
Yeah.
But we went in there. IVF is incredibly stressful. There's a lot of needles.
I don't know much about it, and I haven't been through it. So yeah,
I would have, I would have to give my wife the shot, in her stomach, in her hip, stuff like that. And I remember the first time that I gave her the shot, I was laughing and crying at the same time. I had no idea what emotion I was feeling. It was just kind of all happening.
Yeah.
I was like, did I hurt you? Are you okay? But it was incredibly stressful. It put a lot of strain on our marriage for a while because of the impatience that we had. When you want something, we were talking about the reels, if you're done with that one, you can swap on to the next one.
Yeah.
You can search what you want to look for.
Yeah.
When you wait 7 years for something that you really, really want, it's tough.
Yep.
It makes you question things.
That's where my mind's going. How did you keep your faith? Because obviously you're a Christian and you're trying to live and do the correct things for the Lord.
So Philip asked me that same question. How were you able to, get up here and worship and lead worship in a place of, brokenness or in a place of where you don't feel like doing it?
So to set the setting, you are the worship leader at this time.
I'm the worship pastor at the Grove Church during this time.
All right.
We started a T-shirt campaign to help raise money for IVF.
Yep.
After every false pregnancy or unsuccessful pregnancy, that next Sunday we're up there, we're leading. At the same time, my dad's going through cancer.
Oh my gosh, man.
Now, thank you for watching part 2, and come back tomorrow to watch part 3. Thank you for listening to the Dad Show podcast.
Thank you for listening to the Dad Show podcast. Please like, review, and subscribe.